The spotlight felt like fire on Maya's skin as she stood alone on that big stage. Her hands were shaking so hard she had to hide them behind her back. The whole auditorium had gone completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Judge Patterson was staring down at her from his tall chair with cold eyes, and he said those words that made her stomach flip upside down. "Spell it again." Maya's mouth went dry. She had just spelled the word perfectly. Everyone in the room heard it. Her mom heard it. Her teacher heard it. The other judges heard it. But Judge Patterson was shaking his head slowly, like she had made some terrible mistake. The microphone felt heavy in her trembling hand as she looked out at the sea of faces staring back at her. Some looked confused. Some looked angry. And Maya felt something break inside her chest, something that made her want to run off that stage and never come back. But then she remembered why she was there. She remembered all those long nights studying with flashlight under her covers. She remembered her grandmother's voice telling her she was special. And she knew, deep in her heart, that something very wrong was happening right now on this stage. Something that would change everything. What Maya didn't know was that hidden in the audience, someone was recording everything. And what happened next would shake their entire town to its core. But let's go back to the beginning, to where this whole story really started. Maya Johnson was 9 years old and lived in a small town called Riverside with her mom, her little brother Marcus, and her grandmother who everyone called Nana Grace. Their house was the small blue one at the end of Maple Street, the one with the flower garden that Nana Grace loved more than anything except her grandchildren. Maya loved words, not just regular words, but big, beautiful, complicated words that rolled off your tongue like music. While other kids her age were playing video games or watching cartoons, Maya would sit in her room with her dictionary, reading it like it was the most exciting storybook in the world. That child's got something special. Nana Grace would tell anyone who would listen. She's going to do big things one day. Mark my words. Maya's teacher, Mrs. Peterson, noticed it too. Mrs. Peterson was a kind woman with gray hair and smile lines around her eyes from decades of teaching third graders. She wore colorful scarves and always smelled like peppermint candies. We share powerful stories that uncover hidden truths and challenge perspectives. Subscribe to stay updated, share to keep others safe, and comment where you're watching from. One afternoon, Mrs. Peterson kept Maya after class. Maya's heart started beating fast. Had she done something wrong? But Mrs. Peterson was smiling. "Maya, honey, I want to talk to you about something exciting," Mrs. Peterson said, pulling up a chair next to Maya's desk. "Have you ever heard of a spelling bee?" Maya nodded. She had seen one on TV once, where kids stood on stage and spelled really hard words. "Well, our school is going to have one in 2 months, and I think you should enter," Mrs. Peterson said, her eyes twinkling. "I've been teaching for 35 years, and I've never met a student who loves words the way you do." Maya felt a warm glow spread through her chest. "Really? You think I could do it?" "I don't just think you could do it," Mrs. Peterson said. "I think you could win it. And if you win at our school, you'd go to the county spelling bee. And if you win that, well, who knows how far you could go." That night at dinner, Maya could barely sit still. She waited until everyone had their food. Then she burst out with the news. "Mrs. Peterson wants me to be in the spelling bee," she announced. Marcus, who was only 6, looked up from his chicken nuggets. "What's a spelling bee? Do the bees spell things?" Everyone laughed, and Nana Grace reached over to ruffle Marcus's hair. "No, baby. It's a competition where children spell difficult words. And your sister is going to be wonderful at it." Maya's mom, Jennifer, worked 2 jobs to take care of the family. She was a nurse at the hospital during the day and cleaned offices at night. She was always tired, but right now, her face lit up with pride. "Oh, Maya, that's amazing," she said. "When is it?" 2 months, Maya said. "Mrs. Peterson said she'd help me practice, and she's going to give me a list of words to study." "We'll all help you," Nana Grace declared. "This is important. This is your chance to show everyone how brilliant you are." And so Maya's journey began. Every day after school, she would practice with Mrs. Peterson for an hour. Then she'd come home and practice more with Nana Grace, who would quiz her from the word list while making dinner. Even little Marcus got involved, holding up the flashcards that Maya made. Even though he couldn't read most of the words started easy. Elephant, bicycle, wonderful, but they got harder fast. Pneumonia, rhythm, conscience. Some words looked nothing like they sounded, which Maya thought was pretty sneaky of the English language. Why is there a P in pneumonia if you don't say it? Maya complained one evening. Nana Grace laughed. Baby, English is full of tricks, but you're smarter than any trick. You'll learn them all. Maya studied everywhere. She studied on the bus to school. She studied during lunch. She even studied in the bathtub with her word list safely on the bathroom counter where it wouldn't get wet. Her mom worried she was working too hard. Maya, sweetie, you need to take breaks, Jennifer said one night when she found Maya still studying at 10 o'clock. You need to play sometimes too. But Mom, the school bee is only 3 weeks away, Maya protested. I want to be ready. Jennifer sat down on Maya's bed and pulled her close. You know what makes me most proud of you? It's not just that you're smart. It's that you work so hard. You never give up. But remember, even if you don't win, you're still my champion. Okay. Maya hugged her mom tight. I'm going to make you proud. I promise. The night before the school spelling bee, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind spinning through all the words she'd learned. What if she forgot how to spell something? What if she got nervous and her mind went blank? What if she let everyone down? Around midnight, she heard her door creak open. Nana Grace slipped into the room and sat on the edge of Maya's bed. Can't sleep, baby girl? Maya shook her head. I'm scared, Nana. What if I mess up? Nana Grace took Maya's hand in both of hers. Her hands were soft and warm, wrinkled with age but strong. Let me tell you something, Maya. When I was your age, I loved reading just like you. But back then, in the town where I grew up, they didn't let little black girls like me enter spelling bees. They said we weren't smart enough. They said we didn't belong on those stages. Nana Grace's voice got quiet. But that was a lie. It was always a lie. Maya sat up, looking at her grandmother's face in the moonlight coming through the window. You're going to walk onto that stage tomorrow, Nana Grace continued, and you're going to show everyone what you can do. And no matter what happens, you're breaking down doors that were closed to girls like us for so long. You're doing something important, Maya. Something bigger than just spelling words. But what if I'm not good enough? Maya whispered. You are more than good enough, Nana Grace said firmly. You are exceptional. And tomorrow you're going to prove it. The next morning, Maya woke up with butterflies doing somersaults in her stomach. She put on her favorite dress, the purple one with white flowers that Nana Grace had made for her birthday. Nana Grace braided her hair with purple ribbons woven through. You look beautiful, her mom said, taking about 100 pictures. Even Marcus gave her a high five and told her she was going to beat everybody. The school gymnasium was packed. There were 20 kids in the spelling bee, all from different grades. Some were 5th graders who looked huge and confident. Maya tried not to feel small as she took her place on the stage with the other contestants. Mrs. Peterson gave her an encouraging smile from the audience. Maya could see her mom and Nana Grace in the 3rd row, and Marcus was sitting between them, swinging his legs because they didn't reach the floor. The bee began. One by one, kids stepped up to the microphone to spell their words. Some got them right and returned to their seats looking relieved. Others misspelled their words and had to leave the stage, looking disappointed. Maya's first word was magnificent. Her heart was pounding so loud she was sure everyone could hear it. But she took a deep breath, just like she'd practiced, and spelled it carefully. magnificent. Magnificent. That is correct, the judge said. Maya almost floated back to her seat. She'd done it. She'd spelled her first word. The bee went on. Round after round, more kids dropped out. Maya kept getting her words right. Dictionary. Fascinating. Mysterious. Each time she spelled a word correctly, she felt a little bit stronger, a little bit braver. By the time they got to the final round, there were only 2 contestants left. Maya and a 5th grader named Tyler Brooks. Tyler was tall with red hair and freckles, and he'd been in spelling bees before. He looked calm and confident. Maya's legs felt wobbly as she stood there. The whole gymnasium seemed to be holding its breath. Tyler went first. His word was pharmaceutical. He spelled it perfectly, not even pausing to think about it. Now it was Maya's turn. If she spelled her word correctly, they'd keep going. If she missed it, Tyler would win. The judge looked down at his paper. Your word is conscience. Maya felt a little spark of joy. She knew this word. She'd practiced it just last night. Conscience, she repeated. So N-S-C-I-N-C, conscience. That is correct. The audience clapped. Maya returned to her spot, her heart soaring. They went back and forth like that for 3 more rounds, both of them spelling every word right. The tension in the room was electric. Maya could see her mom gripping Nana Grace's hand. Then Tyler got his word. Occasionally, he started spelling it, but halfway through he hesitated. O-C-S-I-O-N-A-L-Y. Maya's heart jumped. He'd left out one of the L's. I'm sorry, that is incorrect, the judge said. Tyler's face fell. He walked off the stage slowly, and Maya felt bad for him even though this meant she was so close to winning. Maya Johnson, the judge called. If you spell this word correctly, you will be our school spelling bee champion. Maya walked to the microphone. Her hands were shaking again. This was it. This was the moment. Your word is triumph. Triumph. Maya knew what it meant. It meant a great victory or achievement. And that's exactly what she was about to have. Triumph, she said clearly. T-R-I-U-M-P-H. Triumph. For a second, there was total silence. Then the judge smiled. That is correct. Maya Johnson is our school spelling bee champion. The gymnasium exploded with noise. People were cheering and clapping and standing up. Maya saw her mom crying happy tears, and Nana Grace was on her feet with her hands raised high, and even Marcus was jumping up and down. Mrs. Peterson rushed onto the stage and hugged Maya tight. I knew you could do it. I'm so proud of you. Maya received a trophy that was almost as tall as Marcus and a certificate that said she would represent Riverside Elementary School at the county spelling bee in 6 weeks. That night, Nana Grace made Maya's favorite dinner. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, and green beans. They even had chocolate cake for dessert. The trophy sat in the middle of the dining room table, catching the light. Speech! Speech! Marcus demanded, banging his fork on the table. Maya stood up, giggling. I just want to thank my family for helping me practice, and Mrs. Peterson for believing in me, and thank yourself. Nana Grace interrupted gently. Thank yourself for all that hard work, baby. You earned this. But winning the school bee was just the beginning. Now Maya had to prepare for the county spelling bee, where she'd be competing against the winners from 15 other schools. Mrs. Peterson got her a new, much longer word list. These words were even harder. Onomatopoeia, bourgeoisie, silhouette. The county bee was going to be held at the Riverside Community Center, and it was a much bigger deal. There would be hundreds of people in the audience. There would be multiple judges. And the winner would get a $500 scholarship and a chance to compete at the state level. Maya practiced even harder than before. Some days her brain felt so full of words she thought it might overflow. But she never complained. She had a dream now, a goal that felt bigger than just spelling words. She wanted to prove that a little girl from a small blue house on Maple Street could do something amazing. 3 days before the county bee, something strange happened at school. Maya was at her locker, getting her math book, when 2 girls from the 5th grade walked by. Maya didn't know them well, but she'd seen them around. That's her. One of them whispered, not quite quietly enough. The one who won the spelling bee. I heard she probably just got lucky, the other one said. My mom says the county bee is going to be way harder. With, real competition. The way she said real competition made Maya's stomach hurt. She knew what they meant, even if they didn't say it directly. They didn't think someone like Maya belonged on that stage with all the other kids. Maya closed her locker slowly. She didn't say anything to the girls. She just walked to her classroom with her head held high, even though inside she felt small again. That night, she told Nana Grace what happened. Nana Grace was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Maya, baby, I'm going to tell you something true. There will always be people who doubt you. People who think you don't belong, who think you're not good enough. And you know what you do?" "What?" Maya asked. "You prove them wrong," Nana Grace said fiercely. "You get up on that stage at the County B and you spell every single word they give you. You show them exactly who you are." The day of the County Spelling Bee arrived too fast and too slow at the same time. Maya wore a new dress that her mom had bought special for the occasion. It was navy blue and made her feel grown up and confident. The Riverside Community Center was huge. The ceilings seemed to go up forever, and there were rows and rows of seats filling up with people. Maya counted 16 contestants, including herself. They all looked smart and prepared. Some of them had been to County B's before. One boy had a whole cheering section with signs that said, "Go Jeremy!" Maya's mom had to work, but she'd promised to get there as soon as she could. Nana Grace and Marcus were already in their seats, right up front. Nana Grace gave Maya a thumbs up. The spelling bee began. The words were harder than anything Maya had practiced. One by one, contestants stepped up to spell. One by one, some of them made mistakes and had to leave the stage. Maya spelled analysis correctly, then burrow, then conscience again, which made her smile because it felt like an old friend. By round 7, there were only 5 contestants left. Maya was the youngest. She was also the only black contestant still on stage. The audience seemed to get quieter as the competition went on. Maya could feel hundreds of eyes on her every time she stepped up to that microphone. Her hands were sweating. Her heart wouldn't stop pounding. Then she got the word colonel. She almost laughed. This was one of those tricky words that didn't sound at all like it looked. But she knew it. She'd practiced it a dozen times. "Colonel," Maya said clearly. "Solo and ill." "Colonel." "Correct." 3 contestants left. Then 2. And then, just like at the school B, it was down to Maya and one other person. A girl named Ashley from Meadowbrook Elementary. Ashley was in 5th grade and wore glasses and looked very serious. They went back and forth, spelling word after word, neither of them making any mistakes. Maya's mouth was getting dry. She wished she'd brought water on stage. Then Ashley got vacuum and missed it, adding an extra U. The audience gasped. Maya's turn. If she got this right, she'd be in the lead. "Your word is camouflage," the judge said. Maya took a breath. She could do this. Camouflage. Say M-O-U-F-L-A-G. Camouflage. "That is correct." The audience clapped. Maya looked out and finally saw her mom slip into a seat next to Nana Grace. Her mom must have run straight from work because she was still wearing her nurse's scrubs. When she saw Maya looking, she blew her a kiss. Ashley got her next word right. Then Maya got hers right. This was it. This was the final stretch. Ashley stepped up to the microphone for what could be her last word. She was given privilege. She spelled it slowly, carefully. She got it right. Now Maya. Everything came down to this moment. She walked to the microphone. The stage lights were so bright. The room was so quiet. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps us motivated and reminds us that our stories are making a difference in people's lives. And that's when she noticed him. One of the judges. An older white man with gray hair and a stern face. He was sitting at the far end of the judge's table, and he was looking at Maya in a way that made her uncomfortable. His eyes were cold. His mouth was pressed into a thin line. His nameplate said, "Judge Patterson." Maya swallowed hard and tried to focus. The head judge looked down at his paper. "Your word is prestidigitation." Maya's mind raced. Prestidigitation. She knew this word. It meant magic tricks, sleight of hand. She'd studied it just 2 days ago. Her confidence surged back. She could spell this. She would spell this. Prestidigitation, Maya said clearly. She spelled it carefully, letter by letter. Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation. She knew she'd spelled it right. She could feel it in her bones. The head judge smiled and opened his mouth to speak. But before he could say anything, Judge Patterson leaned forward. His voice cut through the auditorium like a knife. Spell it again. Maya felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. The microphone suddenly felt heavy in her hand, like it weighed 100 pounds. Her mind went completely blank for a second, and all she could hear was her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. "Excuse me?" the head judge said, turning to look at Judge Patterson with a confused expression on his face. Judge Patterson didn't look at him. His cold eyes stayed fixed on Maya. "I said, spell it again. I didn't hear it clearly." But that wasn't true. Maya knew it wasn't true. The microphone had been working perfectly all afternoon. Every other contestant's voice had carried clearly through the entire auditorium. And Maya had spoken directly into it, loud and clear, just like Mrs. Peterson had taught her. The head judge looked uncomfortable. "Judge Patterson, I heard the contestant quite clearly. She spelled." "I'm asking her to repeat it," Judge Patterson interrupted, his voice sharp. "That's within my rights as a judge. If I didn't hear it clearly, she needs to spell it again." Maya's hands started shaking. She looked out at the audience and found Nana Grace's face. Her grandmother had half risen from her seat, and her expression was a mixture of shock and anger. Maya's mom had her hand over her mouth, her eyes wide. The auditorium was buzzing now. People were whispering to each other. Some looked confused. Others looked angry. A few were shaking their heads. Maya looked back at the other judges. The head judge seemed frozen, uncertain what to do. The woman judge next to him was frowning deeply at Judge Patterson. But no one was stopping him. "Well," Judge Patterson said coldly, "we're waiting. Spell the word again." Maya felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them back hard. She would not cry. Not here. Not now. Not in front of everyone. Her voice came out smaller this time, shakier. "Prestidigitation." She spelled it again, each letter feeling like it took all her strength. "Prestidigitation." There was a long, horrible pause. Judge Patterson stared at her for what felt like forever. Then, finally, he leaned back in his chair and gave a small nod. "Correct?" the head judge said quickly, relief flooding his voice. "That is correct." Maya walked back to her spot on shaking legs. She could barely feel her feet touching the ground. The audience was still buzzing with whispers. Something had happened just now. Something wrong. But Maya's 9-year-old brain couldn't quite make sense of it all. She just knew that her moment of triumph had been stolen, twisted into something that made her feel small and wrong. Ashley stepped up for her turn. She looked over at Maya with something like sympathy in her eyes. Her word was restaurant. She spelled it correctly without any problems. No one asked her to spell it again. The B continued, but something had changed in the room. The atmosphere felt different now, heavier, like a storm cloud had settled over everything. Maya could see people in the audience leaning together, having intense whispered conversations. She saw a man in the back row pull out his phone and start typing quickly. Maya got her next word. Wednesday. Easy. She'd been spelling days of the week since first grade, but her voice still trembled as she spelled it. Wednesday. Correct, the head judge said. He wouldn't look at Judge Patterson. Ashley got her next word wrong. She spelled rhythm with 2 H's instead of positioning them correctly. She knew it immediately, her face falling as soon as the last letter left her mouth. "I'm sorry, that is incorrect," the head judge said gently, which meant if Maya spelled her next word correctly, she would win the county spelling bee. Maya stood at that microphone again, and this time she refused to look at Judge Patterson. She looked at her mom instead. Her mom was crying but smiling at the same time, nodding at Maya encouragingly. "Your word is entrepreneur," the head judge said. Entrepreneur. Maya knew this one too. It meant someone who starts their own business. She thought of Mrs. Chun, who owned the corner store near their house. Mrs. Chun was an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, Maya said. She spelled it carefully, making sure each letter was crystal clear. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. She held her breath. That is correct, the head judge announced, and this time he stood up, smiling broadly. Maya Johnson is our county spelling bee champion. The auditorium exploded. People were on their feet, cheering and clapping. But it wasn't the pure, simple joy that had filled the school gymnasium. This applause felt different, louder, almost defiant. Maya saw people looking angrily at the judges' table as they clapped. She saw others comforting Ashley, who was crying but also came over to hug Maya and tell her congratulations. Nana Grace reached the stage first, moving faster than Maya had ever seen her move. She pulled Maya into a tight hug that smelled like her lavender perfume and held her like she might never let go. "You did it, baby," Nana Grace whispered fiercely in her ear. "You did it despite everything. I'm so proud of you." Maya's mom was right behind her, hugging them both, and even Marcus managed to squeeze his way into the group hug. Mrs. Peterson was there too, and she was crying happy tears while telling Maya over and over how amazing she was. They gave Maya her trophy and her certificate. She would represent the county at the state spelling bee in 2 months. She should have felt nothing but happiness. This was everything she'd worked for, everything she'd dreamed about. But as Maya held that trophy, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had been taken from her up on that stage. She couldn't forget Judge Patterson's cold eyes, or the way he'd made her spell that word twice, or the whispers that had filled the auditorium afterward. "Can we go home?" Maya asked quietly. Her mom looked surprised. "Don't you want to stay? They're going to take pictures, and there are reporters who want to talk to you." "I just want to go home," Maya said again. So they gathered their things and headed for the exit. But as they were leaving, Maya heard raised voices coming from near the judge's table. She turned and saw several adults surrounding Judge Patterson, their faces angry. One woman was pointing her finger at him, saying something Maya couldn't quite hear. Judge Patterson's face was red, and he was arguing back. "Don't look, baby," Nana Grace said, gently turning Maya toward the door. "That's not for you to worry about." But Maya had already seen it, and she had a feeling that whatever was happening back there, whatever those adults were so angry about, it had everything to do with what happened to her on that stage. The ride home was quiet. Marcus fell asleep in his car seat, clutching Maya's trophy like it was a teddy bear. Maya stared out the window at the darkening sky, watching the streetlights flicker on one by one. When they got home, Nana Grace made hot chocolate even though it wasn't that cold outside. They all sat around the kitchen table, the trophy in the center, just like it had been after the school bee. But this time felt different. "Nana," Maya said finally, breaking the silence, "why did that judge make me spell the word again?" The adults exchanged glances. Marcus was still asleep in the other room. Thank goodness. He was too young to understand any of this. "Sometimes, baby," Nana Grace said slowly, carefully, "people do things that aren't fair. Sometimes people." The doorbell rang, cutting her off. They all looked at each other, confused. It was almost 9 o'clock at night. Who would be visiting this late? Maya's mom went to answer it. Through the kitchen doorway, Maya could hear her mom gasp. "Oh my God," her mother said. Then Maya heard other voices, lots of them, and she saw lights flashing through the front window. Bright lights, camera lights. Nana Grace stood up quickly and went to the door. Maya followed, her heart starting to race again. When she looked outside, she couldn't believe what she saw. There were news vans parked up and down Maple Street. Reporters with cameras and microphones crowded their small front lawn. Neighbors were coming out of their houses, trying to see what was happening. And standing at their front door was a reporter with perfectly styled hair and a bright smile, holding a microphone with a TV station logo on it. "Mrs. Johnson?" the reporter said urgently. "I'm Diane Foster from Channel 7 News. We need to talk to you about what happened at the spelling bee tonight." Someone in the audience recorded everything, and the video is already going viral on social media. People across the country are demanding answers about why Judge Patterson treated your daughter the way he did. "Ma'am, did you know that Judge Patterson has a history?" Maya's mom quickly stepped outside and closed the door behind her, leaving Maya and Nana Grace standing in the hallway. But Maya could still hear everything through the door. More reporters were shouting questions now, their voices overlapping until they became just noise. Mrs. Johnson, do you think this was discrimination? How does Maya feel about what happened? Will you be filing a complaint? Nana Grace gently guided Maya away from the door and back into the kitchen. She pulled out a chair and sat Maya down, then knelt in front of her so they were eye to eye. Listen to me carefully, baby, Nana Grace said, holding both of Maya's hands. What's happening out there, all those reporters and cameras, that's because people saw what happened to you tonight. They saw it wasn't right. And now they want to help make sure it never happens to anyone else. But I don't understand, Maya said, her voice cracking. I won. I got the trophy. Why is everyone so upset? Because winning isn't just about getting the trophy, sweet girl. It's about being treated fairly while you earn it. That judge, he didn't treat you fairly. He made you prove yourself twice when you'd already proven yourself once. He tried to make you doubt yourself up there on that stage. Maya thought about those cold eyes staring at her, about how small she'd felt, about how her perfect moment had turned into something confusing and painful. Was it because I'm black? Maya asked quietly. The question hung in the air between them. Nana Grace's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't look away. I think so, baby. I think that judge looked at you and didn't believe you could be as smart and capable as you are. And that's on him, not on you. Do you understand? That's his problem, his failing, not yours. Maya nodded slowly. She was starting to understand, even though part of her wished she didn't have to. Her mom came back inside 20 minutes later, looking exhausted. Her hands were shaking as she locked the door behind her. They want to interview Maya, she said, leaning against the door. Channel 7, Channel 9, even some national news networks are calling. There's a hashtag trending on Twitter. Hashtag Justice for Maya. The video has been viewed over 1 million times already. 1 million, Maya whispered. 1 million people had watched the worst moment of her life. Everyone's talking about Judge Patterson. Her mom continued. Apparently, this isn't the first time he's done something like this. A reporter told me there have been complaints about him before, but nothing was ever done. But now, with the video evidence, she trailed off, running her hands through her hair. The phone rang. They all jumped. It rang and rang until finally Maya's mom answered it. Hello? Yes, this is Jennifer Johnson. Oh, Mrs. Peterson. Yes, she's okay. We're all just... Yes, it's been overwhelming. What? Tomorrow? I don't know if that's a good idea. She's been through so much already. Maya watched her mom listen, her expression changing from worry to surprise to something like relief. Okay, her mom said finally. Yes, thank you for calling. We'll see you tomorrow. She hung up and looked at Maya and Nana Grace. That was Mrs. Peterson. She wants to know if Maya would be willing to come to school tomorrow. She says the whole school wants to have an assembly to celebrate Maya's win properly. She thinks it might help Maya to be surrounded by people who love and support her. I don't want to go on TV, Maya said quickly. I don't want to talk to those reporters. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, her mom assured her. But school might be nice. Just your teachers and classmates. People who know you. Maya thought about it. She did miss the simple happiness of winning at the school before everything got complicated. Maybe going to school would help her remember what this was supposed to feel like. Okay, she said. I'll go to school. That night, Maya couldn't sleep again. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Judge Patterson's face. She heard him say, "Spell it again," over and over in her head. Around midnight, she got up and went to the window. There were still 2 news vans parked on their street, reporters probably hoping for an early morning interview. Maya heard a soft knock on her door. "Come in," she said quietly. Marcus shuffled in, dragging his blanket behind him. His eyes were puffy from sleep. "Maya, are you okay? I heard Mom crying." Maya's heart squeezed. She hadn't even thought about how all this might be affecting her little brother. She patted the spot next to her on the window seat, and Marcus climbed up beside her. "I'm okay," Maya said, putting her arm around him. "It's just been a really big day." "You won though," Marcus said, looking up at her with his big brown eyes. "You're the champion. That's good, right?" "Yeah," Maya said, managing a small smile. "That's good. Then why is everyone being so weird? Why are there cameras outside?" Maya struggled to find words that a 6-year-old would understand. Sometimes when something unfair happens, people want to talk about it so they can fix it. That's all. What was unfair? One of the judges wasn't very nice to me. Marcus was quiet for a moment, processing this. Then he said, "If I was there, I would have told him to be nice. You're the best speller in the whole world." Maya hugged her little brother tight. "Thanks, Marcus. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps us motivated and reminds us that our stories are making a difference in people's lives." They sat together at the window for a while, watching the news vans and the quiet street. Finally, Marcus fell asleep leaning against Maya's shoulder, and she carefully carried him back to his room. The next morning, Maya woke up to the smell of pancakes. Nana Grace always made pancakes when someone needed cheering up. Maya got dressed slowly, putting on her favorite jeans and the purple shirt that matched the ribbons from the school bee. When she came down to breakfast, the TV was on in the living room. She could hear her name being mentioned on the morning news. "Turn it off," her mom said firmly to Nana Grace. "She doesn't need to hear all that right now." But Maya had already heard the news anchor say, "Raises serious questions about bias in academic competitions. Judge Richard Patterson has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation." Meanwhile, 9-year-old Maya Johnson, administrative leave, investigation. These were big, serious words. Maya added them to her mental dictionary, along with their meanings. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was something bigger. The drive to school felt strange. Usually, Maya and Marcus took the bus, but today their mom drove them. She said it was because of the reporters, but Maya thought maybe it was because her mom wanted to keep them close. When they pulled up to Riverside Elementary, Maya gasped. The entire front of the school was covered in signs. Big, colorful signs that said things like, "We love Maya," and "Congratulations, champion," and "Maya makes us proud." Students were lined up outside, and when they saw Maya's mom's car pull up, they started cheering and clapping. Mrs. Peterson was there, holding a sign that said "Spelling Bee Queen" with a drawing of a crown. Maya's mom parked and came around to open Maya's door. "Ready?" she asked gently. Maya nodded. She stepped out of the car, and the cheering got even louder. Kids were chanting her name. "Maya! Maya! Maya!" For the first time since the spelling bee, Maya felt herself smile for real. This was what she'd needed. This was her school, her people, celebrating her the way it was supposed to be celebrated. Mrs. Peterson came over and gave her a big hug. "Come on, champion. We have an assembly waiting for you." The gymnasium was packed with every student in the school. Someone had made a banner that stretched across the whole back wall. "Congratulations, Maya Johnson, County Spelling Bee champion." Principal Harris stood at the microphone. He was a tall man with a kind face and a booming voice that could quiet any classroom. "Students and staff," he began, "we are here today to celebrate something truly special. One of our own, third grader Maya Johnson, has brought honor to our school by winning the County Spelling Bee." Everyone clapped and cheered. Maya sat in a special chair at the front, feeling overwhelmed by all the love and support. "But I want to talk about something else too," Principal Harris continued, and the gymnasium grew quiet. "I want to talk about grace under pressure. I want to talk about dignity in the face of unfairness." Maya looked up, surprised. "What happened at the County Bee was wrong," Principal Harris said firmly. "And I want every student here to know that Maya showed us all how to handle difficult situations with courage in class. She didn't give up. She didn't walk away. She stood tall and proved what she was capable of, even when someone tried to make her doubt herself." The gymnasium erupted in applause again. Maya felt tears streaming down her face, but these were different tears. These were tears of relief and gratitude and finally, feeling understood. But as Maya stood to receive her certificate of achievement from the principal, she noticed something that made her stomach drop. Through the gymnasium windows, She could see more news vans pulling into the school parking lot. And standing among the reporters, talking urgently into cameras, was a man in an expensive suit. Even from this distance, Maya recognized him. It was Judge Patterson, and he was giving an interview right outside her school. Principal Harris noticed the commotion outside at the same time Maya did. His expression changed from warm and celebratory to concerned in an instant. He held up his hand to quiet the students. "Let's continue our assembly," he said firmly, positioning himself so his back was to the windows, blocking the students' view. "Maya, would you like to say a few words to your classmates?" Maya's mouth went dry. She'd been nervous spelling in front of hundreds of strangers, but somehow speaking to her own classmates felt even scarier. Everyone was looking at her with such hope and pride in their eyes. What was she supposed to say? She walked slowly to the microphone. It was adjusted down to her height, and when she spoke, her voice echoed through the gym. Thank you everyone," Maya started. Her voice was shaky. "I just wanted to say that I couldn't have done this without all your support, and Mrs. Peterson's help, and my family. And I know that what happened at the County B was really confusing and scary, but I'm okay." She paused, thinking about what Principal Harris had said about grace and dignity. "My Nana Grace told me that sometimes people will doubt you. They'll think you're not good enough. But the only person who really needs to believe in you is yourself. So I'm going to keep believing in myself. And I hope all of you believe in yourselves too, no matter what anyone says." The gymnasium erupted in cheers so loud that Maya had to cover her ears. Kids were stomping their feet and whistling. Her classmates rushed forward to hug her, and for a few perfect minutes, Maya forgot all about the reporters and Judge Patterson outside. But the moment couldn't last forever. After the assembly, Principal Harris asked Maya's mom to come to his office. Maya waited outside with Mrs. Peterson while Marcus played with some building blocks in the corner. Through the office door, Maya could hear raised voices. Principal Harris sounded angry. "He has no right to be here. This is school property, and we have policies about visitors. Not to mention he's clearly trying to intimidate." "I understand that," another voice interrupted. It sounded like Mr. Chun, the school's lawyer. "But technically he's on the public sidewalk. We can't force him to leave unless he actually enters school grounds. The best thing we can do is keep the students inside and away from the windows." "This is outrageous," Principal Harris said. "That man should be ashamed of himself, not out there trying to defend what he did." Mrs. Peterson put a comforting hand on Maya's shoulder. "Don't you worry about any of that, sweetie. The grown-ups will handle it." But Maya was worried. She kept thinking about Judge Patterson standing outside her school. What was he telling those reporters? Was he saying mean things about her? When Maya's mom finally came out of the office, she looked tired but determined. "Come on, kids. We're going home." "But Mom, I just got to school," Maya protested. "I want to stay. I want things to be normal." Her mom knelt down in front of her. "I know, baby, but right now normal isn't possible. There are too many reporters, and Principal Harris thinks it's better if you're at home where you're safe and comfortable. You can come back to school next week when things calm down." Maya wanted to argue, but she could see the worry lines on her mom's face. So she just nodded and took her mom's hand. Getting out of the school was like trying to escape from a movie. Principal Harris and two teachers formed a barrier around Maya's family, walking them quickly to the car while reporters shouted questions and cameras flashed. Maya kept her head down, clutching her mom's hand so tight her fingers hurt. She heard Judge Patterson's voice above all the others. "I was simply doing my job. The microphone quality was poor, and I had every right to ask for clarification. This has been blown completely out of proportion." "Then why did you only ask the black contestant to repeat herself?" a reporter shouted back. "That's a baseless accusation." Judge Patterson's voice was getting louder, angrier. "I've been judging spelling bees for 15 years without a single complaint." "That's not true," another reporter interrupted. "We found at least 3 formal complaints filed against you in the past 5 years, all involving students of color." Maya's mom got her and Marcus into the car and locked the doors quickly. As they drove away, Maya looked back through the rear window. Judge Patterson was still arguing with reporters, his face red, his arms waving. He looked nothing like the calm, cold judge from the spelling bee. He looked desperate. At home, Nana Grace had lunch ready, but nobody was very hungry. The house phone kept ringing until finally Nana Grace unplugged it. Maya's mom's cell phone buzzed constantly with texts and calls. "Jennifer, you need to look at this," Nana Grace said, holding up her tablet. She'd been reading something online. Maya's mom looked at the screen, and her eyes went wide. "Oh my God! What is it?" Maya asked. Her mom hesitated, then showed Maya the tablet. It was an article from a major news website. The headline read, "Judge in viral spelling bee video has history of complaints, documents show." The article talked about other times Judge Patterson had been accused of being unfair to students of color. There was a girl named Jasmine from 3 years ago who said he'd questioned her answer even though it was correct. A boy named David from last year who said Judge Patterson kept interrupting him while he was trying to spell. The complaints had been filed, but nothing had ever been done about them because there was never any proof. Until now. Until someone had recorded what happened to Maya. "So I'm not the first?" Maya asked quietly. "No, baby," Nana Grace said. "You're not the first. But because of your courage, you might be the last. People are finally paying attention." The rest of the day was strange. Maya tried to play with her toys, but she couldn't focus. She tried to read, but the words blurred together. She kept thinking about Jasmine and David and all the other kids Judge Patterson might have treated unfairly. Kids who didn't have anyone recording what happened. Kids who had to swallow their hurt and confusion and just move on. That evening, Maya's mom got a phone call that made her sit down hard on the couch. "Yes, I understand," she said into the phone. "Tomorrow? That soon? I'll have to talk to Maya about it. Can I call you back in an hour?" "Thank you." She hung up and looked at Maya and Nana Grace with a mixture of excitement and worry on her face. That was the county school board. They're having an emergency meeting tomorrow night to discuss what happened at the spelling bee. They want Maya to come and tell her side of the story. They said her testimony could help them decide what actions to take against Judge Patterson. "What kind of actions?" Maya asked. "They could remove him from ever judging spelling bees again," her mom explained. "They could even ban him from volunteering at any school events in the county. But only if Maya is willing to speak at the meeting and tell them exactly what happened and how it made her feel." Maya felt her stomach twist into knots. "Would there be cameras there too?" "Probably," her mom admitted. "This is a big deal, Maya. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to. No one can force you." Maya looked at Nana Grace, who was watching her with those wise, gentle eyes. "What do you think I should do, Nana?" Nana Grace came and sat next to Maya on the couch. She took Maya's hands in hers, just like she had the night before the school spelling bee. "I think you should do whatever feels right in your heart. If you're scared, that's okay. You've been through a lot. But I also want you to know that you have a chance to help other children. Children who might face the same thing you faced. Your voice could protect them." Maya thought about Jasmine and David. She thought about all the kids who would compete in spelling bees in the future. Kids who deserved to be treated fairly, no matter what they looked like. "I'll do it," Maya said, her voice stronger than she felt. "I'll go to the meeting and tell them what happened." Her mom pulled her into a tight hug. "Are you sure? You can take time to think about it." "I'm sure," Maya said. And she was. She was scared, but she was sure. That night, Maya practiced what she would say at the school board meeting. Her mom helped her write down her thoughts. They kept it simple and honest. Maya would tell them about studying hard, about feeling confident on the stage, about spelling the word correctly, and then about the horrible moment when Judge Patterson made her spell it again. She would tell them how small and wrong he made her feel, even though she hadn't done anything wrong. But as Maya lay in bed that night, trying to sleep, a new worry crept into her mind. What if going to the meeting made everything worse? What if Judge Patterson got angrier? What if people started saying mean things about her family? She was about to get up and tell her mom she'd changed her mind when she heard voices coming from downstairs. She crept to the top of the stairs and listened. "I'm worried about her, Mama," Maya's mom was saying. This is so much pressure for a 9-year-old. What if we're pushing her too hard? We're not pushing her, Nana Grace replied. Maya made this choice herself. That girl has a strength in her that reminds me of the civil rights workers I used to see on TV when I was young. She knows this is bigger than just her. But what if? Nana Grace interrupted gently. Jennifer, we can what if ourselves into paralysis. All we can do is support Maya and trust that she knows her own heart. There was a long pause. Then Maya heard her mom say, I just want to protect her. I know, baby. But sometimes the best protection we can give our children is the courage to stand up for what's right. Maya went back to her room, her heart full of complicated feelings. Tomorrow night, she would face Judge Patterson again, not on a spelling bee stage, but in a boardroom full of adults who would decide his fate. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. But what Maya didn't know was that Judge Patterson wasn't planning to go down without a fight. And what he had planned for the school board meeting would test Maya's courage in ways she never imagined. The next day felt like it lasted forever. Maya tried to distract herself by watching cartoons with Marcus, but she couldn't focus. Her mind kept jumping to the meeting that evening. What would she say? Would her voice shake? Would she cry in front of everyone? Around lunchtime, Mrs. Peterson called. Maya's mom put the phone on speaker so they could all hear. I just wanted to let you know that I'll be at the school board meeting tonight, Mrs. Peterson said. I'm going to speak on Maya's behalf. I've been teaching for 35 years, and I've never seen a student treated the way Maya was treated. I won't stay silent about it. Thank you, Maya's mom said, her voice thick with emotion. That means so much to us. After they hung up, more calls came. Other teachers from Maya's school said they would be there. Parents of Maya's classmates. Even some of the other contestants from the county spelling bee called to offer their support. Ashley's mom called and said that Ashley wanted to speak at the meeting too, to tell everyone that she'd heard Maya spell the word perfectly the first time. You've got a whole army behind you, baby, Nana Grace said, squeezing Maya's shoulder. But Maya couldn't shake the nervous feeling in her stomach. It felt like a family of butterflies had moved in there and were throwing a party. At 4 o'clock, Maya's mom helped her pick out something to wear. They chose a simple yellow dress that Nana Grace said made Maya look like sunshine. Maya's mom braided her hair carefully, weaving in yellow ribbons that matched her dress. Remember, her mom said as she worked, you just tell the truth. That's all you have to do. Tell them exactly what happened and how it made you feel. What if Judge Patterson yells at me? Maya asked quietly. Her mom's hands stopped moving for a moment. Then she turned Maya around to face her. If he yells, that says everything about who he is and nothing about who you are. You understand? You are brave and honest and good. Nothing he says or does can change that. They arrived at the county administration building at 6 o'clock. The meeting was scheduled to start at 6:30. The parking lot was already packed with cars. As they walked toward the building, Maya saw news vans lining the street. Her stomach flipped again. Inside, the meeting room was huge. Rows and rows of chairs faced a long table where the school board members would sit. People were already filling up the seats. Maya saw Mrs. Peterson wave at them from the third row. She'd saved seats for Maya's family. There are so many people, Maya whispered. They're all here to support you, Nana Grace assured her. But as Maya looked around, she realized that wasn't entirely true. On the left side of the room, she saw a group of people who looked angry and unfriendly. They were wearing buttons that said, "Support fair judging," and holding signs that said things like, "Don't rush to judgment," and "Due process matters." And sitting right in the middle of that group, wearing an expensive suit and talking to a woman with a briefcase, was Judge Patterson. Maya's heart started pounding. She grabbed her mom's hand. Judge Patterson looked up at that exact moment and saw Maya staring at him. For a few seconds, their eyes met across the crowded room. He didn't look cold this time. He looked angry, really, really angry. Then he turned away and continued talking to the woman with the briefcase. "That's his lawyer," Maya heard someone whisper behind her. "Of course he brought a lawyer," someone else muttered. At exactly 6:30, the school board members filed in and took their seats at the long table. There were 7 of them, and they all looked very serious. The chairperson, a woman named Dr. Sandra Martinez, banged a small wooden hammer on the table. "This emergency session of the county school board is now called to order," she announced. Her voice was strong and clear. "We are here tonight to address concerns about the conduct of Judge Richard Patterson during the recent county spelling bee competition. We will hear testimony from various witnesses, and then the board will deliberate on appropriate actions." She explained the rules. Each person who wanted to speak would have 3 minutes. No yelling, no interrupting. Everyone would be treated with respect. "We'll begin with the primary witness," Dr. Martinez said. "Maya Johnson, please come forward." Maya's legs felt like jelly as she stood up. Her mom squeezed her hand one more time before letting go. The walk to the front of the room felt like it took 100 years. Every eye in the room was on her. She could hear cameras clicking. There was a chair at a small table facing the school board, with a microphone in front of it. Maya climbed into the chair. Her feet didn't touch the ground, so they dangled in the air. Somehow that made her feel even smaller. Dr. Martinez smiled kindly at her. "Hello, Maya. Thank you for being here tonight. I know this must be scary, but you're doing a very brave thing. Can you tell us, in your own words, what happened at the spelling bee?" Maya took a deep breath. She looked out at the audience and found her mom's face. Her mom nodded encouragingly. "I was at the spelling bee," Maya began. Her voice sounded tiny through the microphone. "It was down to just me and one other girl. I got the word prestidigitation. I knew how to spell it because I'd studied it. So I spelled it into the microphone, clearly and slowly, like my teacher taught me." She paused, gathering her courage. Then Judge Patterson said, "Spell it again." But I knew I'd spelled it right the first time. And the microphone was working fine. Everyone else only had to spell their words once. But he made me spell it twice. "How did that make you feel?" Dr. Martinez asked gently. Maya's eyes started to water. "It made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Like no matter what I did, it wouldn't be enough. It made me feel small and wrong, even though I knew I'd done everything right. It took away my happy moment and made it into something scary and confusing." "Thank you, Maya," Dr. Martinez said. "That was very well said. Does anyone on the board have questions for Maya?" One of the board members, a man with gray hair and glasses, leaned forward. "Maya, did Judge Patterson say anything else to you besides asking you to spell the word again?" Maya thought back to that moment on stage. "No, sir. He just looked at me in a way that made me feel uncomfortable. Like he didn't believe me." Another board member, a younger woman, asked, "Had you ever met Judge Patterson before the spelling bee?" "No, ma'am." "So he had no reason to think you were dishonest or couldn't spell well?" "No, ma'am. I won my school spelling bee. That's why I was at the county bee." The board members nodded and made notes. Then Dr. Martinez said, "Thank you, Maya. You may return to your seat. Judge Patterson, you'll have an opportunity to respond after we hear from the other witnesses." Maya walked back to her seat on shaky legs. Her mom hugged her tight and whispered, "You did perfect, baby. So perfect." Next, Mrs. Peterson spoke. She told the board about Maya's dedication and intelligence. She talked about how hard Maya had worked and how she'd never seen a student so prepared for a competition. Then Ashley took the stand. Even though she'd been Maya's competitor, she spoke clearly and firmly. "I was standing right there on the stage. I heard Maya spell the word perfectly the first time. There was no reason for her to spell it again. The microphone was working fine. I think what happened to Maya was wrong." One by one, other witnesses spoke. Parents who'd been in the audience. Other contestants. A teacher from a different school who said she'd heard complaints about Judge Patterson before. Through it all, Judge Patterson sat in his seat, his face getting redder and redder. The woman with the briefcase kept whispering to him, probably telling him to stay calm. Finally, it was Judge Patterson's turn to speak. He walked to the front of the room with his head held high, like he had nothing to apologize for. He sat down at the table and adjusted the microphone. "Members of the board," he began, his voice smooth and confident. I've been judging academic competitions in this county for 15 years. I have always conducted myself with professionalism and integrity. What happened at the spelling bee has been grossly mischaracterized. He went on to explain that the microphone had been having technical difficulties all evening, that the acoustics in the community center were poor, that he'd simply been doing his due diligence as a judge to make sure he heard the spelling correctly. I would have done the same thing for any contestant, he insisted. This has nothing to do with race. That accusation is offensive and unfounded. I'm being crucified in the media based on a video that doesn't show the full context of the situation. Maya listened to him talk, and something inside her started to burn. It wasn't fear anymore. It was anger. He was lying. The microphone had worked fine all night. Everyone heard her spell the word. And she knew, deep in her heart, that he wouldn't have done the same thing to Ashley or any of the other contestants who didn't look like her. Judge Patterson continued talking, his voice getting more passionate. I'm asking this board to see reason, to not give in to mob mentality and social media pressure. I have dedicated years of service to this community, and I don't deserve to have my reputation destroyed over a simple misunderstanding. When he finished, the room erupted. People on Maya's side were shouting that he was lying. People on his side were shouting that he deserved a fair hearing. Dr. Martinez had to bang her hammer over and over to restore order. We will have order in this room, she shouted. Or I will clear the room and we will continue in closed session. Everyone finally quieted down. Dr. Martinez looked exhausted. The board will now adjourn to deliberate in private, she announced. We will return with our decision within the hour. Please remain seated. The board members filed out through a side door. And then everyone just had to wait. Maya's mom held her hand tightly. Nana Grace was praying quietly. Mrs. Peterson looked worried. Across the room, Judge Patterson was talking urgently with his lawyer, his face still red. The minutes ticked by slowly. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30. Maya had to use the bathroom, but she was afraid to leave in case the board came back. She shifted in her seat, trying to distract herself by counting the tiles on the ceiling. After 45 minutes, the side door opened again. The board members filed back in. Their faces were serious and unreadable. Dr. Martinez sat down and picked up her hammer. She banged it once. The room fell completely silent. The board has reached a decision, she announced. Maya held her breath. This was it. Everything they'd been fighting for came down to this moment. But before Dr. Martinez could say another word, Judge Patterson suddenly stood up. His lawyer tried to pull him back down, but he shook her off. Wait, he shouted. His voice was shaking now, desperate. Before you announce your decision, there's something you all need to know. Something about this girl and her family that changes everything. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps us motivated and reminds us that our stories are making a difference in people's lives. The entire room froze. Maya felt her mom's hand tighten around hers so hard it almost hurt. What was Judge Patterson talking about? What could he possibly say about their family? Dr. Martinez banged her hammer. Judge Patterson, you are out of order. You've already given your testimony. Sit down. No! Judge Patterson's voice was loud and wild now. His face was bright red, and he was breathing hard. You need to hear this. I have proof that this entire thing was planned. That family came to the spelling bee looking for a reason to cause trouble. They wanted to create a scandal. That's a lie, Maya's mom shouted, jumping to her feet. Nana Grace had to pull her back down. Sit down, both of you, Dr. Martinez commanded. Judge Patterson, if you have evidence, you should have presented it during your testimony. You cannot simply. I have witnesses. Judge Patterson interrupted, pointing to his group of supporters. People who saw that girl's grandmother talking to reporters before the spelling bee even started. She was telling them to watch carefully, that something was going to happen. This whole thing was a setup. Maya's stomach dropped. She looked at Nana Grace, whose face had gone pale. That is absolutely false, Nana Grace said, standing up slowly. Her voice was shaking but clear. I have never spoken to any reporters before tonight. This man is lying to save himself. The room exploded into chaos. People were shouting. Reporters were frantically taking notes. Judge Patterson's supporters were yelling that he was telling the truth. Maya's supporters were yelling that he was making things up. Dr. Martinez banged her hammer over and over. Order! I will have order or I will clear this room. It took 5 full minutes for everyone to calm down. Maya felt like she couldn't breathe. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Was this really happening? Could people actually believe Judge Patterson's lies? Finally, Dr. Martinez spoke. Judge Patterson, do you have any actual evidence of this alleged conspiracy? Video footage? Recordings? Anything beyond hearsay? Judge Patterson's lawyer whispered urgently in his ear. He hesitated, then said, My witnesses are evidence. They'll testify to what they saw. Eyewitness testimony about a conversation they supposedly overheard? Dr. Martinez said, her voice cold. That's convenient. Judge Patterson, I'm going to tell you something. This board has spent the last 45 minutes reviewing not just what happened at the spelling bee, but your entire record as a volunteer judge. We've looked at every complaint ever filed against you. We've interviewed people you've worked with, and we've watched that video at least a dozen times. She paused, looking directly at him. And what we see is a pattern of behavior toward students of color that is, at best, unconsciously biased and, at worst, deliberately discriminatory. Judge Patterson started to interrupt, but Dr. Martinez held up her hand. Let me finish. You want to claim that a 9-year-old girl and her family orchestrated an elaborate plan to frame you? A girl who did nothing but study hard, spell correctly, and have the misfortune of being judged by someone who couldn't see past the color of her skin. Maya watched Judge Patterson's face change. The anger was still there, but now there was something else too. Fear. He was realizing that his lies weren't working. The board's decision is unanimous, Dr. Martinez announced. Judge Richard Patterson, you are hereby permanently banned from volunteering as a judge at any academic competition in this county. Furthermore, we are recommending that the State Education Board review your volunteer status for all school-related activities statewide. The room erupted again, but this time it was mostly cheers. Maya's supporters were clapping and hugging each other. Mrs. Peterson was crying happy tears. Marcus was jumping up and down even though he didn't fully understand what was happening. But Dr. Martinez wasn't done. She banged her hammer again. Additionally, we are implementing new policies for all academic competitions in this county. All judging panels must include diverse representation. All competitions must be recorded for review. And we are establishing a formal complaint process that will be taken seriously and investigated promptly. She looked directly at Maya. Maya Johnson, on behalf of this board and this community, I want to apologize. What happened to you should never have happened. You deserved better. And we are going to make sure that no child ever has to go through what you went through again. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. But these weren't sad tears or scared tears. These were tears of relief and happiness and something that felt a lot like justice. Judge Patterson stood frozen for a moment, his mouth hanging open. Then he grabbed his briefcase and stormed toward the exit. People booed as he passed. His supporters looked confused and embarrassed, and most of them quietly slipped out behind him. As soon as the meeting was officially adjourned, people rushed over to Maya's family. Everyone wanted to hug them and congratulate them and tell them how proud they were. Reporters were shouting questions, but Maya's mom politely declined to comment. We just want to go home, she said. My daughter has been through enough. She just wants to be a 9-year-old kid again. Mrs. Peterson walked them to their car, helping to shield them from the cameras. Before they left, she bent down and looked Maya in the eyes. You changed the world a little bit tonight, she said. You know that, right? Because of your courage, things are going to be better for so many other kids. Maya thought about Jasmine and David and all the other children who Judge Patterson had made feel small. She thought about kids in the future who would now compete in spelling bees with fair judges and proper rules. I was really scared, Maya admitted. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared, Mrs. Peterson said. It means being scared and doing the right thing anyway. That's exactly what you did. The drive home was quiet. Everyone was emotionally exhausted. Marcus fell asleep in his car seat again, and Maya wasn't far behind. But before she dozed off, she heard her mom and Nana Grace talking softly. "I can't believe he tried to say we set him up," her mom said. "The nerve of that man." "Desperate people do desperate things," Nana Grace replied. "But truth always wins in the end. Always." When they got home, Nana Grace made hot chocolate one more time. They sat around the kitchen table with Maya's spelling bee trophy in the center, just like they had after both competitions. But this time felt different. This time felt complete. "So what happens now?" Maya asked. "Do I still get to compete at the state spelling bee?" "Absolutely," her mom said. "That was never in question. You earned that fair and square." "Will there be new judges?" "Yes. The county is going to make sure everything is done right this time." Maya thought about the state spelling bee. Just a few days ago, it had felt like the most important thing in the world. But now she understood that some things were more important than trophies and competitions. Things like fairness and justice and standing up for what's right. "I want to do it," Maya said. "I want to compete at state. But not because I have something to prove to anyone else. Because I love words. And I love spelling. And that's enough." Nana Grace smiled and pulled Maya close. "That's my girl. You do it for you and for the joy of it." "That's exactly right." Over the next few days, things slowly started to calm down. The reporters eventually left their street. The phone stopped ringing constantly. Maya went back to school, and while some kids still asked her questions about what happened, most of them just wanted to play and be normal kids. Maya went back to her word lists, studying for the state bee. But now when she studied, she didn't feel pressure or stress. She felt joy. Each new word was like a little gift, a puzzle to solve. Mrs. Peterson continued to help her practice after school. They never talked about Judge Patterson or the school board meeting unless Maya brought it up. Mostly they just focused on words and their meanings and their interesting histories. "Did you know," Mrs. Peterson said one afternoon, "that the word triumph comes from ancient Rome? When generals won great battles, they would have parades called triumphs. You had your own triumph, Maya. Your own victory parade." Maya smiled. She liked thinking about it that way. 2 months later, Maya stood on another stage at the state spelling bee. This time there were new judges, including a kind woman who smiled encouragingly at all the contestants. This time everything was being recorded officially. This time when Maya spelled her words correctly, no one asked her to spell them again. She didn't win the state bee. She made it to the top 5, which was incredible for someone so young. But more importantly, she had fun. She made friends with the other contestants. She learned new words, and she proved to herself that she could stand on a stage without fear. When it was over and they were driving home, Marcus asked, "Are you sad you didn't win?" Maya thought about it. "No," she said honestly. "I'm proud of how far I got. And I'm happy. That's enough." Nana Grace reached back from the front seat and squeezed Maya's hand. "You already won the most important victory, baby. You won respect. You won justice. And you won your dignity back. Those are the kinds of wins that last forever." That night, Maya added one more trophy to her collection on her bookshelf. It sat next to the one from the school bee and the one from the county bee. 3 trophies for 3 different competitions. But when Maya looked at them, she didn't just see spelling bee victories. She saw reminders of what she'd learned. She'd learned that working hard matters, that believing in yourself matters, that speaking up when something is wrong matters, and that sometimes the scariest thing and the right thing are the same thing. Maya went to bed that night feeling happy and peaceful. Tomorrow she'd wake up and just be a regular 9-year-old kid again. She'd go to school and play with her friends and study her words because she loved them. And that was exactly what she wanted. But Maya's story didn't end there, because sometimes when you stand up for what's right, the impact ripples out further than you could ever imagine. And Maya's courage that night at the spelling bee, and again at the school board meeting, had started a wave of change that was just beginning. Schools across the state started reviewing their competition policies. Other children who'd experienced discrimination found the courage to speak up. And a little girl named Maya Johnson became a reminder that even the smallest voice can change the world, one word at a time. Thank you for watching. If you found this story engaging, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective adds value to the conversation. To stay updated with future stories exploring themes of race, inequality, and the unexpected choices that shape lives, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful and thought-provoking content.